Over the years, the beautiful game has provided us with some memorable goals. We've searched through our back catalogue to compile our favourites from across the globe. So sit back and enjoy this collection of 500 great goals. Liverpool's midfield general with a fantastic goal against Newcastle in the league.
Xabi Alonso has looked up, and Steve Harper's off his line and has stumbled. And Alonso has scored from 70 yards. Saw that Harper was off his line, he probably would have got back but for the slip. But what a goal from Xabi Alonso.
Born in northern Portugal, Vieirinha learned his trade in the youth team at his local club Vitória. His talent was soon spotted by FC Porto. On loan to Leixões in the 2007-2008 season, he scored this memorable goal against his former club in a league outing. 2-2 the final score. He's played for every youth level of the Portuguese national team. There could only be one winner when Germany met Austria at Euro 2008. Both sides needed to score in the must-win group game in Vienna. German captain Michael Ballack came up with the important goal 4 minutes after the break. A pinpoint bullet of a free kick flew past Jürgen Macho in the Austrian goal. Germany held on to the lead for a 1-0 victory and progressed to the quarter-finals. Ballack was named man of the match. Just before his big money move to Juventus in the late summer of 2004, Zlatan Ibrahimovic found the time to score a crucial goal for his country in the group stages of the European Championships. His back heel, 5 minutes from time, past Italian keeper Gianluigi Buffon, salvaged a point for the Swedes. And Sweden finished top of the group. An early contender for goal of the season from Barnsley's Brian Howard.
Howard! Remarkable! We think back a few years to a Trevor Sinclair goal against Barnsley. And this one from Brian Howard was very nearly as good.
Howard went on to be named Barnsley Player of the Year.
I always remember one day when Kenny was there and he said, you just run into that space. No, so I didn't think nothing of it because I thought there's no way the ball would be in that space, so I didn't go when the ball was in that space, and he had a bit of a go at me for not being there. So I thought, you know, instead of getting another rollicking from him, next time it comes, you know, I'm going to run into that space. And I ran into space and the ball came to me and I scored a goal.
It was often said that Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish had a telepathic understanding, as this goal would seem to suggest. Rush heeded the advice from Dalglish, and this special goal against Watford was the result.
Somebody played it up to me in the halfway line and I turned. I don't know who was marking me, but I turned him in the halfway line and just played the ball in behind. I think the boy's name was Sims. Rushy was on it, left foot, no chance. Yeah, we had no chance. But as I say, it wasn't difficult.
But not many people can put the ball into that space, but Kenny was one of them, and he wasn't even looking half the time.
It could be argued that Gabriel Batistuta was lucky to be still on the pitch following an early dubious challenge on Lee Dixon. Nevertheless, the Argentinian was on hand to net a tricky angle pass from Jörg Heinrich to see Fiorentina through to the knockout stage of the competition. The angle was tight, but it wasn't beyond the brilliance of Batigol. Barcelona had the best of the play in the opening 9 minutes of this semi-final second leg at Stamford Bridge, but it was the home side who were first on the score sheet with a stunning volley from Michael Essien. Known as a right-sided player, the Ghanaian proved he was equally as adept with his left foot, taking advantage of a deflection to unleash this dipping shot. The 1978 World Cup third-place playoff, a match that teams can rarely manage to get excited about. Brazil were trailing 1-0 in the 64th minute. Everyone expected right-back Nelinho to cross, but instead he struck the ball with the outside of his boot and swerved it into the net. A seemingly impossible angle that the keeper didn't stand a chance of reaching. A further goal from De Seu sealed the match for Brazil. Described by Maradona as an Argentine prophet for the 21st century, Carlos Tevez came up with his scorching goal in the Sao Paulo derby in 2005. Tevez scored a hat-trick in one of the most fiercely contested games of the Brazilian league and set about securing his status as a hero to the Corinthians faithful. Portugal were hoping to restore a little pride after an early exit in the quarter-finals of their Euro 2008 campaign. But on the night, Brazil ran riot, notching up 6 goals to Portugal's 2. This is the best of the night from Milano. A great strike and just a little help from the woodwork. This emphatic victory was Brazil's biggest over Portugal and their first since 1996. Chris Waddle's spectacular free kick gave Sheffield Wednesday the advantage with just 2 minutes on the clock in this semi-final from 1993. United keeper Alan Kelly beaten from the moment Waddle stepped up to take the kick. Wednesday went on to win the match and met Arsenal in the final. Dutch midfielder Ferry Bode scored 7 goals in 17 outings for Swansea in the 2008-2009 season, and this goal against an in-form Preston side was undoubtedly the best of the lot. From 45 yards out, Bode spotted an opportunity and unleashed a perfectly weighted looping ball over the head of Preston keeper Andy Lonergan. He didn't even look up. It remains Hereford's greatest triumph, an FA Cup victory for a non-league club over their illustrious top-flight opponents, helped by one of the competition's greatest goals. Hereford were losing at home to Newcastle with 5 minutes remaining. Up stepped midfielder Ronnie Radford to fire in an equaliser from 30 yards. It was a goal that made Radford a Hereford hero and allowed his side to go on and seal victory in extra time. Arsenal's Dutch ace with one of the FA Cup goals of the 96-97 season.
Oh, lovely skill that from Dennis Bergkamp. And a lovely goal too. A flying start to the second half for Arsenal. Dennis Bergkamp. And how he has turned from villain to hero, sent off in the league game between the two teams. And now he has given Arsenal the lead in this FA Cup replay. A magical moment from this wonderful footballer. Just left defenders for dead and curled it into the corner. How do you stop him?
Billy Clark only scored 8 league goals for Darlington, and half of those came in one memorable game at Macclesfield in August 2008. This, the second, a 30-yard shot, was the pick of them, and it helped Darlington chalk up a 6-0 away win. Mickey Walsh spent 5 seasons with the Seasiders and netted 72 league goals in 180 appearances. This was one of the best. The Sunderland defence were left to gasp in awe as Walsh picked up the ball just past the halfway line before unleashing a stunning strike. The fixture had attracted the second biggest crowd of the season, and over 16,000 were there to see Walsh's beautiful goal. In a tough away match to FC Porto, Académica made a valiant effort, but it proved too little too late as they lost 3-2. Miguel Pedro pulled one back for the visitors in the 76th minute, Edezito Lopez regaining his balance to set up Pedro, who fired the ball in at 88 kilometres per hour. Don O'Riordan wasn't known for his goal-scoring prowess, so it came as a surprise when he netted this wonder goal against Spurs at White Hart Lane in the FA Cup quarter-final. Tottenham were 2-1 winners, so Notts County denied a giant killing, but a goal to savour nonetheless. World Cup qualifier Zaire could hardly be described as the toughest opposition Brazil had to face in the 1974 tournament, but that shouldn't detract from the skill of Rivellino in scoring the holder's second goal. He was famous for his potent left foot shot, and he showed why here. Nobody saw this one coming. Plymouth probably thought they'd cleared the ball to good effect, but they hadn't accounted for the power of Barnsley favourite Anthony Kay. He unleashed an unstoppable right foot shot from over 35 yards out. Plymouth keeper Luke McCormick left wondering what had happened. Vladimir Beschasnik might not be a name too familiar to Liverpool fans, but the Russian scored one of the greatest goals ever seen at Anfield. During a group stage match at Euro 96, Beschasnik found the net from fully 35 yards to put Russia 3-2 ahead with 5 minutes left. Sadly for the Russians, they were eliminated after a late Czech Republic equaliser, but Beschasnik's goal is the abiding memory. Greatest triumphs.
Gerrard! Oh, what a goal! What a strike from Steven Gerrard! Absolutely breathtaking. He never ceases to amaze you. It's another stupendous strike from Steven Gerrard. We've seen them for Liverpool, now we're seeing it for England. And almost on the stroke of half-time, England, to the euphoria of their travelling support, have gone in front. It seemed the chance had gone, but we reckon without the firepower here of Gerrard.
One of the fiercest rivalries in club football is between two Glasgow giants, Rangers and Celtic. The first Old Firm match of the 2008-2009 season saw Rangers take first blood, Daniel Kuzan with the opening goal. A searing run down the wing to smash home from an acute angle. Rangers took the spoils, 4-2. Venlo aren't one of Dutch football's big names. Back in the Eredivisie after a 14-year absence, the visit of Ajax in 2007 ensured a capacity 6,000 crowd to the De Koel. Those present witnessed one of the goals of the season, courtesy of Venlo striker Rashid Ofrani, who collected visiting goalkeeper Martin Stekelenburg's clearance and then chipped him from all of 40 yards. The game finished 2-2, but unfortunately the season ended with Venlo relegated. This quarter-final of the 2002-2003 season between two footballing heavyweights promised much, and it didn't disappoint. Fresh from his third FIFA World Player of the Year award, Ronaldo scored a hat-trick to help Real Madrid through to the semi-final. His third goal, a perfectly struck shot from distance. The Brazilian left the pitch to a standing ovation from the home crowd. Barnsley's Darren Barnard certainly didn't have any pressure on him during this clash with Huddersfield in 1998.
Eden's cross is picked up. Barnard! Oh, fantastic goal! An absolute stunning strike from Darren Barnard. 6-0 with 5 minutes of the first half remaining. And that is an absolute gem of a goal. Look at his technique here.
Barnsley went on to win 7-1. Down the years, England's Premier Cup competition, the FA Cup, has provided some memorable goals. Here are a few favourites from days gone by, starting with Tony Green's great goal against West Ham in the third round in January 1971. Henry Newton helps Derby to progress to the semi-finals. Goshak and Keegan show their telepathic understanding as Liverpool book their place at Wembley. Terry Cochrane's overhead kick saw Middlesbrough take the spoils at the Veg Field. City progressed to the final with this Paul Power pile driver. Despite scoring only 9 goals for his country, Peter Beardsley was half of one of England's most successful striking partnerships. Along with Gary Lineker, Beardsley tormented international defences for the best part of a decade. This strike against Scotland just prior to Euro '88 was the pick of Beardsley's international goals. It helped England win the Rouse Cup after beating the Scots 1-0. Born and bred in Bremen, Uwe Hartgen was one of Werder's unsung heroes during their highly successful period in the early 90s. Hartgen's goal against Cologne in March 1991 was the highlight of a career which saw him help Werder win both domestic and European honours. Jeremy Goss is a Norwich City legend. The Welsh international midfielder spent 13 successful years at Carrow Road. Goss didn't score that often, but when he did, they were usually spectacular. This brilliant volley during the Canaries' 4-0 win at Elland Road against Leeds in 1993 is perhaps the pick of his 14 league goals. It's little surprise that Goss still retains hero status in Norfolk. Not the Juninho of Middlesbrough and Atletico Madrid fame. This Juninho was a centre-back playing for Botafogo in the Brazilian First Division. He scored 14 goals in 2 seasons with Botafogo, this strike one of his most impressive efforts. After a short spell with Sao Paulo, he rejoined the Rio club for a season before making a move to Suwon Samsung Blue Wings in Korea. Having signed to Juventus from Brøndby, Michael Laudrup was promptly loaned to Lazio to accommodate Serie A's ruling on foreign players. On his return to Turin, playing alongside Michel Platini, Laudrup was at his elegant best, creating goals and scoring them. This one against Verona, the only goal of the match. One of English football's great entertainers of the 70s, Frank Worthington was a flamboyant character who was a favourite wherever he played. This remarkable goal for Bolton against Ipswich in 1979 showed why. It was one of 22 he scored that season, a total that saw him finish as the league's top goal scorer. Cocu had only just returned to PSV after 6 seasons with Barcelona and immediately proved his form with this goal.
His own half at that.
Ghanaian Yeboah joined Leeds at the beginning of 1995 and he quickly set about his business. Well known for scoring spectacular goals, he notched up a few in his time at Leeds, including this brilliant goal, chested down and controlled to fire into the net from outside the box. The goal was one of a hat-trick scored by Yeboah that day to help Leeds to a 4-2 victory over Wimbledon. Uruguayan winger Christian Rodriguez took Portuguese football by storm during a season-long loan spell with Benfica. His form attracted the attention of Porto, who signed him permanently. They were soon rewarded with more brilliance. This overhead kick against Nacional in January 2009 was just one of the many reasons Rodriguez and Porto ended the season with the League and Cup double. Japan won their second AFC Under-17 championship in 2006, and their success was in no small part down to Yoichiro Kakitani. He scored 4 goals during the competition. This one Japan's first in the final, which they would go on to win 4-2 after extra time. Kakitani burst into the box and let fly. Oh Mun-sung in the Korean goal could do nothing about it. In the build-up to the 1990 World Cup, Uruguay arrived at Wembley Stadium to remind England that some work was still to be done ahead of the main attraction. Ending a long unbeaten run for the hosts, Jose Perdomo showed just why South Americans are always feared at dead ball situations. A single goal was all Cologne could salvage from this 3-1 defeat away to Hamburg, but what a goal it was. Adil Chihi creating space and time, just managing to evade Frank Rost's reach to find the top right corner of the net. The young striker had attracted the attentions of Tottenham and Arsenal, but signed to the German club after they offered him a long-term contract. A third-round FA Cup game against Huddersfield, and Titi Camara opened the scoring in style. A chip across the box from Vladimir Smitsa found Camara in the perfect position, and the big striker volleyed past keeper Nico Vassen. Camara had an erratic tenure at Liverpool, but he became a cult hero with the fans, and he gave his all for the club in his short spell at Anfield. Hamilton Ricard brought a smile to the faces of Middlesbrough fans with his fabulous New Year goal in the third round of the Cup.
Ricard, ambitious, what a goal! What a way to score your first goal in 3 months. A moment of brilliance from the unlikely source of Hamilton Ricard.
John Barnes scored so many great goals during his highly successful career that it's hard to know which to select and which to leave out. This one for Liverpool at Main Road against Manchester City in 1988 seems like a good place to start. Barnes' eye for goal and ability to create an opportunity from nothing are both apparent. A hero on Merseyside, Barnes helped Liverpool win numerous domestic honours during his 10-year spell at Anfield. Who says Rangers' Peter Lovenkrands hasn't got eyes in the back of his head? Aberdeen might argue that he has.
Thompson can't get the ball across. He does it the second time of asking. What a goal from Peter Lovenkrands. Great technique and breathtaking finish.
Paul Mariner showed beautiful control and poise in England's World Cup qualifier against Norway.
Put through by Gates. Here's Paul Mariner. Great start. Oh, yes. Paul Mariner makes it 4 for England. Showing such poise, such control. And the Norwegian defenders simply had no answer to it as he guided it into the corner. Exquisite control here from the England number 9. Defenders all around him, but it mattered not a jot. Paul Mariner strikes for England, 4-0.
Always passionate about his football, John Aldridge must have been proud of his overhead kick in the first round of the FA Cup in 1991. Aldo had joined the club the previous summer after a spell at Real Sociedad. He scored a club record 40 goals in his first season at Prenton Park, his 40th coming against former club Oxford United. He would continue to play to the age of 40 and took over the manager's job at Tranmere 2 years before he hung up his boots. That's all for now. See you next time for more great goals.